parts to every fraction. The top half of the fraction is called the numerator, and the bottom half of the fraction is called the denominator. So, for example, in a half, 1 is the numerator and 2 is the denominator. In 3/10, 3 is the numerator and 10 is the denominator. How do we multiply fractions? Well, this is the rule for multiplying fractions. You simply multiply the numerators through, all over, multiply the denominators through. So if I have a half times by a quarter, I simply multiply the numerators through, so 1 is the numerator here and 1 is the numerator here, so 1 times 1 is 1, and multiply the denominators through, so 2 times 4 is 8. And this works for any fraction and any number of fractions. So for example, if I had 3/10 times 1/9 times 6/1, for example. First I'd work out this part, so I would do, or I could just do it all at the same time. Let me just do it this way first. So I multiplied the numerators through, so 3 times 1 is 3, and multiplied the denominators through, so 10 times 9 is 90, and then I don't forget about this bit. So I multiply the numerators through, 3 times 6 is 18, and 90 times 1 is 90. I could have also just done it all the way through, straightforward. So 3 times 1 is 3, so 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 6 is 18, 10 times 9 is 90, 9 times 1 is 90 times 1 is 90. Okay? What about for dividing fractions? Well, there's also a rule for dividing fractions. It's called the Gcse rule. For example, what if we were dividing a quarter by a half? We would use the Gcse rule. Just think of it as a slightly messed up version of KFC. So Gcse. The K stands for keep, the C stands for change, and the F stands for flip. So I keep the first fraction the same. So the fraction before the symbol, the division symbol, or to the left of the symbol, I keep the same. Then I change my symbol to multiplication. Then I flip the fraction on the right hand, or the fraction that comes after the symbol. So what that means is I essentially literally just flip it. So the old denominator becomes the new numerator, and the old numerator becomes the new denominator. So this is my new equation, a quarter times 2/1, which is just 2. So now I can multiply the numerators through, 1 times 2 is 2, and multiply the denominators through, 4 times 1 is 4. So that's my answer. And this also works with any fraction and any number of fractions. Say for example, I had 3/10 divided by a half divided by 2/5. Okay? Well, I would apply my Gcse rule, so Gcse. So that is all it can deal with, so I would address this first, anything that can be addressed by the Gcse. So I keep this fraction the same, the one on before the symbol. Next I change my symbol to multiplication, always to multiplication. What was that? Sorry. Next I flip the fraction that comes after my symbol. So the old denominator becomes the new numerator, and the old numerator becomes the new denominator. And that gives me 3 times 2 is 6, 10 times 1 is 10. Now don't forget about this bit here, 2/5. Now I applied the Gcse method, so I just deal with this. So I keep this, 6/10, I change the division sign to multiplication, and I flip the 2/5 to 5/2. And now I can work this out. 6 times 5 is 30, and 10 times 2 is 20. And that's my answer. and then I would simplify, always simplify.